Good morning and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel.
Google states that the hero's journey, or the monomyth, in narratology and comparative mythology, is the common template of stories that involve a hero who goes on an adventure, is victorious in a decisive crisis, and comes home changed or transformed. I think that the first game in the Half-Life series portrays this perfectly, as the entire game is filled with overcoming obstacles and challenges presented to the main character as he goes through trials and tribulations in the game. The main character, Gordon Freeman, a 27-year-old MIT graduate and theoretical physicist who happens to be a mute, comes into work as a scientist/researcher for Black Mesa, a facility located in New Mexico. On this particular day, he comes in a little late, and as such, the experiment scheduled for that day is rushed. He hurries into the chamber to get his equipment, and he prepares himself to conduct the experiment. In the experiment, he is to push an alien crystal into a machine known as the anti-mass spectrometer. However, when he actually has the crystal come in contact with the beam caused by the anti-mass spectrometer, it causes an explosion, which then causes alien portals to appear around the facility and let loose an alien outbreak on Black Mesa. This event is known as the Resonance Cascade in-game. During this event, Gordon is able to survive the explosion due to being teleported to an alien planet and teleported back after the event is over. After the event, Gordon meets up with some of the surviving scientists who inform him that everything is not okay with the facility and he needs to get to the surface and get help, where he arms himself with a crowbar to defend himself. Meanwhile, the military is dispatched into the facility to fight off the alien forces as well as clean up any witnesses of the event. These witnesses, of course, being the scientists and the security of Black Mesa, of course. Gordon fights his way through the halls and corridors of the Black Mesa facility using weapons that he's found in storage lockers and other places, all the way up until he gets to a railway station. He uses this railway station to get to a location where he launches a satellite in an attempt to close the portal caused by the resonance cascade. However, the attempt is unsuccessful. Upon retreating back into the facility, he's ambushed by two Marines, where they throw him into a trash compactor and strip him of his weapons. He ends up escaping this fate and retreats into an older part of Black Mesa, where he finds that they have been doing experiments on alien specimens from Zen, and he finds out that Black Mesa had known about this alien world prior to the resonance cascade. Eventually, the military decides to pull out of their operation as they were being overwhelmed with alien forces. Instead, they resort to bombing it with airstrikes. In the chaos, Gordon uses the tunnels and cliffs in order to navigate to the Lambda complex, where the scientists there inform Gordon that the portal that was caused by the resonance cascade is being forced open by a large entity residing in Zen. In this moment, Gordon decides to take it upon himself to seal the portal by himself by defeating the being keeping it open. After deciding this, Gordon travels through a portal that the scientists at the Lambda complex forcefully opened into Zen in an effort to destroy the source of the invasion. In this mysterious world, he finds the remains of researchers from past unsuccessful ventures. Also in this land, he comes across strange flora and fauna that populate the world that he is currently in, as he continues towards his end goal. As he reaches his final destination, he ends up at a factory which manufactures modified alien soldiers. He enters a rift there that sends him to a vast cave where he finally confronts the Nihilith, a giant alien who enslaved all the other races of aliens weaker than it, and forced these beings to attack the Black Mesa facility. After a difficult fight with Gordon using almost every single weapon at his disposal, he is able to defeat the Nihilith and free all the enslaved aliens as well as stop the attack on Black Mesa. This prompts the G-Man to put Gordon on the train from the beginning of the game, where he extends an offer to work for the G-Man's employers, where Gordon accepts and is put in stasis for storage until the future, where the G-Man will need him. This story is a great example of the hero's journey, as it is very clear to see how this ordinary man who just expects his day to go as it usually does, his world turns upside down suddenly, without any type of warning, and is forced to embark upon a journey of a hero. Despite being unarmed and untrained for this situation, he eventually gets motivation from his colleagues and ventures onto a journey for help, where he finds a crowbar to defeat his enemies, the invading aliens as well as the military sent to clean up. He meets his allies, the scientists and security of Black Mesa, and grows his armory as he fights his way through the facility until he eventually launches a satellite into orbit after fighting hordes of soldiers and aliens. As he realizes that this attempt failed, he gets ambushed and has to escape a trash compactor after having his weapons stripped of his possession. He fights back through the facility and travels to Zen, where he fights even more enemies until he faces the final challenge, being the Nihilanth that is the mastermind of the entire story. After he's victorious, the G-Man, who has been watching Gordon from afar throughout his journey, notices his efforts and his growth and adopts him as his employee. At the end of the story, Gordon is rewarded with the title of a hero for saving not only the staff of Black Mesa from the Resonance Cascade, but also freeing the enslaved alien races of Zen. After overcoming increasingly impossible seeming odds, he still carried on. And that is why the video game Half-Life is a great example of the classic hero's journey, or the monomyth.
Wisely done, Mr. Freeman. I will see you up ahead.